What's up, guys? Welcome to FreshandFit Podcast. We're with Johnny Mitchell, man. We're going to be talking about crime. Let's get into it. And we're back. What's up, guys? Welcome to the FreshandFit Podcast. We're with a special guest. I know you guys are probably wondering, yo, where's Fresh? What's going on? Well, we replaced him with a white guy named Johnny Mitchell, man, so we're going to talk some crime. No, guys, Fresh is in Barbados at the time of this recording. So we're pre-recording this thing. Yeah, he's out there.
I'm actually fresh. I just got the Michael Jackson dye. This is the new Fresh.
Oh, man. So we just wrapped up an interview for Johnny's channel. It was a great interview. He asked me about my background. We talked about a bunch of stuff. You guys definitely need to go check it out on his channel. They just hit 1 million subscribers. Congratulations on that, by the way. Go check out their YouTube channel, man. It's called Johnny Mitchell.
It's called The Connect.
The Connect with Johnny Mitchell. Go check that out. He does a lot of really interesting interviews with law enforcement, criminals, etc. Really cool shit. And it's interesting because maybe if this was 10 years before, we would be having a different conversation, right? So it's like, I used to work in law enforcement. I was special agent of Homeland. You used to be on the other side, doing some.
Yeah.
What you used to do? I'll let you go ahead.
Yeah, we might be in an interrogation room somewhere. You'd be trying to get me to flip. So I'm from Portland, nowhere near Texas, and I wasn't involved in any of the crazy shit that you had to deal with down on the border.
Yeah.
But by the end, I was thorough with Mexican cartels. They were the Connect, right? And I was just moving it all over the country, and it was weed. That was the product.
That was your main thing.
Yeah, that was big. I mean, I grew up in the Northwest, and the gold rush of marijuana, I liken it to crack, what crack did to like the black community in the 80s and the rush, right? The money that was involved. Like, you always knew somebody that was getting it really big. You know what I mean? Even in these like middle class areas, like Portland or Seattle or something like that.
Yeah.
We knew there was like real money and dealing big weight.
So what was your upbringing like? So you're from Portland originally. Like, do you have both parents at home? Like, what was that like?
Fantastic, bro. Fantastic. I mean, it was like middle class dream, right? And it was not suburban, it was urban. So I'm from the center of Portland, Oregon.
Okay.
This was 90s pre-gentrification.
Okay.
I grew up with black kids and Mexican kids. And
what year were you born?
86.
86. Okay.
So I saw the end of the non-digital era, right?
Gotcha.
And it was just a fantastic place to grow up. It wasn't rich by any means, but it was just solid. Everybody was pretty well educated. But it's a drug infested place, just like everywhere.
Yeah.
And, we can go into how I chose to go down the path I went into.
I was going to ask that next. Did you go to college or?
Yeah, I graduated in 4 years.
Oh shit. Where'd you do your undergrad?
University of Oregon.
Oh shit.
In Eugene. And that's really where the trapping went to like trafficking.
Oh, that's how you got started.
Of course.
Well, obviously there's a demand in college.
Yes, it's like going into the projects.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like a bunch of unemployed people living in the dorm rooms, and they all got government money to spend, right? Student loans or, their family's money. And so that's where it went from like, nickel and diming, hand-to-hand sales to like wholesaling.
Yeah.
And then it just grew from there.
So take me through that. So you grew up in a stable household, both parents.
Yeah.
Go to college. Did you start dealing before you got to college or okay.
Yeah.
At high school?
Yeah. So like 16 years old.
Okay.
Like getting hit off with an ounce from like, the homie's dad who might have just come home.
Gotcha.
Right? Because we're middle class white people, but we're pressed up against, black community that, there's middle-class black people in Oregon, but also like you go to school and you're good friends, you play on the hoop team with your boy.
Yeah, and you're a tall guy. You're like 6'5".
6'6".
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and his dad just came home, and his dad is, he sells crack, and maybe he has a couple of hoes, but he also sells weed, right? Every drug dealer in Oregon, doesn't matter if they were into meth or coke, crack, they always hustled weed as well.
Yeah.
So like that's how you would get your first ounce.
Gotcha.
And then you would just bag it up into 10s and take it to school.
Gotcha.
And give it to your other pothead friends.
Okay,
right?
so you would get hit off with an ounce, and you were like, I can make money doing this, and then you just broke it down and sold it to a couple buddies, making some money.
Yeah, and I fucked up the package. Like I didn't make money in the drug game. Like I did not have a silver spoon. I mean, how can a middle class kid, a white kid with no criminal environment, how can he how can he make money in a criminal economy? It was like unfathomable.
Yeah.
And I was so fascinated by economy, right? By the black market, like the invisible hand of the underground economy, that I was like, God, I want to figure this out. So I thought like that. Like most young kids are just content to sell drugs or to pay for their weed, to pay for their blunt, to buy some sneakers. But even at a young age, I remember I'm like, I want to be one of those guys that's like big time.
Oh shit!
Like you'd always hear about a guy. He went big time. You can't even get a bag from him now.
Yeah,
because he's big time.
Yep.
And I was like, God, how can I be big time?
Yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was weird. I was like
when did you have
guy.
Did you have that mindset in high school or once you got to college?
No, in high school.
In high school,
but I didn't believe it was real until I got to college and I actually started making connections and seeing how it would work, how you actually logistically would make this happen.
Gotcha. So, what's your major in college? Just out of curiosity.
Business,
of course. Fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and I minored in Spanish.
Okay.
So I speak Spanish pretty well.
That's okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect for the drug game.
Exactly.
Business and then Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So, so you get in there. You're a freshman in college. Is that like when it really started to take off, or was it later on?
It started to take off more than it had when I was like living with my parents, like selling.
You were commuting every day?
No. In high school, when I was living with my parents and hiding the work from them. And,
yeah, of course.
My dad was always finding it and flushing it down the toilet and blowing my profit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He was like he was a square.
Yeah.
So, the dorms freshman year, it's like, that's where you get all the clientele.
Of course. So, and you got to live on campus that first year.
Exactly. So you're just around all of these fucking partiers, right?
Yep.
And U of O is a huge party school.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like I always tried to give more. And that's a philosophy for any business person, legal or illegal.
Yeah.
Give more than the cash value you're demanding, right? So if you want a 20 sack, I'm going to sell you the biggest bag, even if it's cutting into my profit, because you're going to come back to me,
Bam.
right?
Yep.
So I always wanted major clientele. So
was there competition at this point for you?
Fierce.
Okay.
Always been fierce competition to turn a profit selling weed
and
in
this
Oregon.
is in high school now at this point?
Yeah, no, now we're in college.
Now we're in college now.
So
okay.
Fierce, there's always competitors because that's where the Southern Oregon, Northern California, we grow the best, most abundant weed in the country, maybe the world.
Yeah.
So that was always flooded. So that means weed was always cheap and abundant. So you had to have an edge to really gain market share.
Gotcha.
So I was like the first 2 years of selling weed in college was just, I didn't take any profit.
Okay.
It was like a startup.
Okay.
I didn't take any profit my early years. It was just clientele. I just want to get
you were
this.
breaking even on everything?
It's basically, right? Or
so you're
like
just getting enough to pay back your supplier and that's it?
some 40-ounce money. That was it, right? Some keg money, right?
Okay.
So
Keystone Lights.
Exactly.
And
PBRs. Keystone Lights on deck, bro.
Let's go, man.
Damn, so many blackouts. So many blackout nights off Keystone Light and like Milwaukee's Best.
Yep.
Beast Ice. So
Natty Lights.
God
So shit, man.
damn. You've been to college.
Of course.
Where'd you go
yeah.
to college?
I went to Northeastern in Boston.
Okay. Yeah. Nice.
I was drinking the Perbers.
the
PBRs. Yeah, I was drinking the PBRs, man. And what else? I didn't drink that much in college because I was an athlete, but when I did get a chance, Keystone Light, of course.
Yeah.
Get a 30 rack for like $10, $12 back then.
Yeah, you think you can drink? You come drink with these white boys.
Oh, no, I couldn't keep up. I couldn't keep up.
Exactly.
Man, I couldn't keep up.
So
yeah.
So yeah, basically it was like I would look at these people that were paying their rent, which back in Eugene in like the mid 2000s, early 2000s, it was like $500 a month. But I'm like, God damn, you imagine if we pay our rent off of weed? I mean, what else could there be?
Yeah.
It couldn't get any better than this.
Yeah.
So I have all the clientele. Now I need the best supplier.
Yeah.
I need a cheaper price.
Yeah.
To start making money.
At this point, what would you say you had your clientele? You 2 years in.
I mean, shit. If I'm buying a pound, I got 20 guys, 20 people either smoking or selling smaller quantities for me, right?
Okay.
So
20 people established.
Exactly.
That are buying from you.
But so many transactions.
Yeah.
Like I'd say 20 drug dealers, 20 people that were buying to resell for me, 20 workers.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Who knows?
Holy shit.
Bro, I had
What about
hundreds
people?
of
So you weren't even dealing with like giving people small amounts anymore.
Pretty quickly, by the time I was 20, there was no more hand-to-hand sales. If you were coming at me, it was to buy to resell.
Gotcha.
So now I got my workers. Okay.
Oh shit.
And
so
now,
within 2 years, you're not even okay.
Yeah, you can't even come see me for a sack anymore because it's like unless it's the drought season, unless there's like I have a limited supply, so I start to chip off to make the most off the pack. But anyways, tell me if you want me to slow down with this drug dealer lingo.
This is great. This is great.
So now I got my workers. Now I got my clientele. Now I'm going to make some profit. I got to find the wholesaler.
At this point, are you exclusively only dealing with dealers? You're not dealing with no high level clients that are buying from you just because they want to buy from you and they have that personal relationship?
No, that was only cocaine. So we started to supplement the income. It was like, we were bubbling coke. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And we're talking like 4 ounces at a time.
Okay.
You know, if you heard of somebody that had a connect that was bringing it up from California and it was fire, maybe, and you didn't have a lot of weed at the moment because it was August and it was dry, meaning like the weed all got sold out from the harvest, which happened before legalization. Product would actually be scarce.
I believe it.
You know what I mean?
I believe it.
And so
having a grow house was a problem back then in the mid 2000s. You can really go to you could do some serious time.
Yeah, or get robbed.
Yeah.
We were getting robbed. People were robbing each other left and right. Even like college people were like, dude, we got held up at gunpoint. Then we would go rob somebody to get our money back.
Wow.
You know,
you would rob the rip crews that robbed you.
We would rob the guy who was less dangerous than us.
Smart.
You
Okay.
know what I mean? So
Fair
it's
enough.
like there was this black kid named Manny. Shout out to Manny. I hope he's free. I doubt it. But he was from Oakland.
Yeah.
And he was not a student. He was built like a nose tackle, right? Just this big black dude with dreads. And his sole function in life was to rob college white boy dealers because he knew they wouldn't retaliate. Because what is my choice? I'm either what am I going to rob him and be like, tag, you're it? No, somebody's going to get killed.
Yeah.
So
not only that, they don't want to bring attention because if you get caught selling drugs on campus, you can lose your FAFSA, you can lose your financial aid.
Dude.
Like, they're not gonna go to the cops
Exactly. So it's like that was a perfect lick.
Yeah, it is a perfect lick.
So when Manny would rob us, and he would usually just kick our door down. He never like robbed us at gunpoint.
Yeah.
But we would be like, okay, well, I'm going to go find somebody I'm the Manny to him.
Yeah.
You know, because that's really like, you have to know that the person, it's like a game of, it's like calling somebody's bluff.
Of course.
Like, you're not going to do shit about this.
Yeah.
I'm going to take this.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm doing you a favor.
Yeah.
I'm putting you back on the straight and narrow before something really bad happens to you.
Yeah.
Because the next guy you see is going to be even worse.
That's a good way to rationalize it.
So it's like, you know, there was some duct taping and some tying people up and taking the stash. And it was, I regret that time, but I was just so thick into the mentality of the game that to me, I just justified it.
Let me ask you this. Yeah, you did a fantastic job of doing it a second ago. So you mentioned that you guys, 2 years in, you got 20 people working for you. You only dealt with like people giving stuff directly once you got into cocaine. When did you make that transition? Because that's like a big step almost. Like once you transition from like, at least with every dealer that I've ever talked to, they remember when they made that transition from just weed to coke. Because now you're officially a real drug trafficker.
Oh yeah,
I'm like a real dealer at that point.
I'm a drug dealer. Yeah, for sure.
Did you make that transition in college or?
Yeah. This was like 2007 when I first started selling coke. To me, well, coke was a great game because look, it's a modest investment with a high profit margin.
Huge.
And you don't have to sell to other drug dealers. So if I'm selling you and at Thursday to Sunday, my phone doesn't stop ringing.
Yeah.
I was selling dope like you podcast.
Yeah,
no
I'm
sleep.
sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, but I know that if I could sell you this 8 ball or this 2 grams or whatever, you're just going and snorting it, and then that's done, right? It's very unlikely you're going to get busted by the cops and then turn around and tell on me.
Yeah.
Whereas I got all these people working for me. If they get caught selling drugs, guys like you are going to twist them.
Yep.
It doesn't take much twisting on like a 20-year-old to turn around and give me up.
Of course.
So that was the advantage of it. The disadvantage was like at that point I had no Mexican connections.
So you're selling such small quantities that they wouldn't. You didn't sell enough quantities where it was user amounts.
Yeah, exactly.
They were using it, and that's it. Like, okay.
Yeah, but essentially, I was just doing it to save up enough of a bank to go make a wholesale weed buy. So I was reverse engineering the game. I was a little bit different than how most people treat the transition from cocaine to marijuana or marijuana to cocaine.
Completely different.
I was doing it to build up a war chest because here's the thing. These growers back then, these wholesalers, it's not like now where you can walk into a trap shop, right? Yeah. You can walk into in LA, you can find a guy with 10 pounds of weed.
Dude, marijuana is Schedule 1 drug.
Right.
Like people don't know that. In the early 2000s, you got busted with weed. That's like getting caught with cocaine today, guys.
It's a felony.
It was a big deal.
You could go to prison.
Now it's like, oh, it's what do you mean weed?
Yeah.
But in the mid 2000s, it was a big problem. Schedule 1 drug. I think to this day, it's still a Schedule 1 drug.
Yes.
Sorry,
I don't know how much longer it's going to last, but that's back in the day. It was a real criminal business.
Huge.
So you couldn't just go to one of these guys, these growers in Southern Oregon, Northern California, Humboldt, Mendocino, certainly not the Mexicans, right? Unless you had like 50 G's to spend minimum. Mm-hmm. And so for a kid, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Now it's a whatever, but back in the day, it's like, how the fuck do I come up with 50 grand?
I'd say that's easily almost close to 100K today.
Right.
Easily.
So it's like I can't go get a micro loan. I don't know any other like dealers that have that kind of money that can go in on me with it. You know what I mean? I can't get a bank loan. So it's like I need to build up a war chest so I can then go make my first wholesale buy. Because I know when I do, I'm on. So that's the reason that I was out at the same time that I was selling my little, moving my my packs of weed to my workers. I was also on the side hustling coke because that was just stash money.
So you were literally stash. So you were doing that the other way around.
Yeah,
because a lot of people sell the weed to go into more profitable drugs like cocaine, right? Because cocaine does have the highest profit margin by far.
It has the highest margin, but it's hard to make money at the wholesale level.
Yes,
because you gotta. That's big boy business.
Yeah.
Like if you're buying a brick at 20 G's, 20,000 a piece, you're probably getting it right off the border.
Yep.
And then you got to know somebody. And then who are you dumping it off to? Somebody that's buying it for 25 maybe?
Yeah.
So
you have to have a lot of it to make it make sense for the risk that you're taking.
For the risk that you're taking.
Yeah.
So it's like, to me,
it was 29K when I was on the border.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Oh, dude, back in the 2007, 2008, it was really high. Yeah. It was really high, and it was just not something to me that was even conceivable.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I want to. My goal is to like.
So you would get it, make your money, go right back into the marijuana.
Exactly.
Okay,
so
fair enough.
And by 2008, that's when I did that. I made my first. I had enough money. I think I had like 40 grand, and I paid a dude 10 grand just for his plug. This is how valuable knowing a grower was back then. That was proprietary.
Yeah.
That was really difficult to know a guy like that and he would change your life.
Yeah.
And it was just a friend of a friend who I went to school with, and I met his uncle was a grower in Southern Oregon, and now I'm getting hit off 20 pounds at a time.
Yep.
At like $2,500 a piece.
That $10,000 you paid saved you tens of thousands of dollars.
Exactly. And now I'm, instead of dealing with 20 guys, I'm dealing with 3, and they're picking up 5 pounds at a time and giving it to their retailers, who are giving it to their retailers. So now I'm on. Now I'm a drug trafficker.
Okay.
You know what I mean? No more drug dealing. I'm trafficking.
Real quick timeline. So we talked about you're dealing the weed. 2 years in, sophomore year, you roughly got 20 guys working for you. You're doing a little bit of cocaine just to make more money so that you can go ahead and get even more marijuana.
Yeah. I mean, not a little bit of coke, over a lifetime it was kilos, but it was just,
in this
gram at a time.
Yeah, at this
8
era.
ball at a time, yeah.
Okay, so in this point in college, like sophomore year, you're doing some coke grams. At what point did you get secure this connect where you were now you're able to get pounds at a time of weed.
Yeah.
Is this I graduated college at this point?
No, it's my senior year.
Senior year.
2007 going into 2008.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your senior year, you got this connect now. Are you still dealing with the coke, or are you like, fuck this shit, I don't need it no more?
I put the coke down basically. I picked it back up when I did meet these cartel connections that had fire. And that's where I probably could have stepped up and really started to make some crazy money wholesaling coke.
Of course.
But I was making so much money moving weed that it didn't. I didn't need it. Didn't need it.
Okay.
You know, it's a scary business selling cocaine.
Dude, that's when the violence and the real crazy shit happens is with the coke. You know, high risk, high reward when it comes to cocaine.
Yeah.
So now your senior year, now you got your connect. You pay $10K to get this plug. You get him. He's hitting you off what you said, 20 pounds a week?
20 pounds a week.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm making like $500 profit per pound, which for a kid that was making like $200 a week, maybe.
Yeah.
For years.
Back then, yeah.
I was like, dude, I looked at my partner, Reggie.
I was making about that much when I was in 2008 too. I was working at fucking Macy's, doing loss prevention, chasing shoplifters while you were selling weed.
Exactly.
Making way more than me. So what were you making at this point? How much per month?
So if we can make $5,000 a week.
You're making $20K a month?
20, but I'm splitting it with my partner, my co-D, my best friend to this day.
Was that the guy that hooked you up with the connect or no?
No. This was just a college kid who ended up strung out on dope, meth, and he was getting ready to go away because he got caught up, and he was getting ready to go do like 6 months or something.
Yeah.
So he was like, hey, I know you got cash. You've been looking for this guy. Like, he needed some money when he was about to go in. So I hit him off, and he made the connection.
So he put you in touch with the guy that put you in touch with the plug.
Exactly.
Before he went away.
Exactly.
Okay. And then you said that you were splitting your money half and half with this guy before he went away?
No, with my partner. Well, my drug dealing partner every week, everything was 50-50, right?
Gotcha. Okay.
So I'm just, we're each clearing $5,000 a week.
Okay.
So I'm sorry. No. We're profiting $5,000 a week. We're splitting that. So,
okay. So you're making $10K a month.
Which is like, dude,
that's in 2008. That's a fuck ton of money.
I'm like, there's no way things. I looked at my
tax free too.
I'm like, bro, there's no way things can get any better than this.
Yeah.
Like, think about that. Like, all I want to do is pay my rent. Right.
In Oregon.
And it's like, now I'm 22 years old and I got a 6-figure business. I'm like, I'm fucking rich. How am I going to spend all this money?
Yeah. 10K back then in Oregon. That's a lot of money, man, a month. So
and
you're a college kid. You didn't even get your degree yet.
Yeah.
Okay. So
and paid off. There was no loans.
Oh, you paid her off. Shit. Didn't ask no questions.
No.
They didn't go fuck. Okay.
Never had to ask my parents for any money.
Oh,
right.
Shit.
Like,
what did your parents think?
Well, the thing is, I would go home for the summers, and they would always catch me with like backpacks full of 30, 40 G's, kick me out the house for finding pounds of weed. You know what I mean?
No.
So I put them through a lot. Yeah.
So
they did not approve of it.
What'd you do? How'd you because, all right, let me just ask how you did it, and then I'll talk about my side. How'd you you're obviously getting all this cash. Did you put it in a bank account? Did you just let us put it under a mattress? What'd you do with it?
No, we were unsophisticated at the time. It was just, we keep it in a safe. Yeah. Had
cash.
All cash. Yeah. There's no concept of money laundering. Not until like it started to become like $50,000 a week. That's when we had to clean it up. But at that time, it was really just, stashing it in a safe deposit box in banks. I'm not gonna lie, under our own name. Yeah. Cowboy shit.
Yeah.
But $100,000, it's like you can conceal $100,000.
Yeah, you can.
But it's when it's $100,000 a month, that's when it gets tricky. Right?
Yeah.
That's when it gets hard to sleep.
Of course.
So yeah, we just keep it. We pay our boy, and he just stash it at his crib. Keep the work at the other homie's crib.
Yep.
And so
never keep money and drugs together.
Exactly. And we'd get
rule number one.
And we got stuck up one time, and we were like, bro, we don't have anything for you. Like, here's a couple $100 cash and some weed to take on your way, but we don't have shit.
Yeah.
Like, we don't keep it where we sleep.
Of course.
So, the years move on.
Yep.
I get out of school, and now
scaling up slowly at this point, right? Every year making more and more.
But it's becoming harder. Because weed is it's more and more flooded in Oregon.
Okay.
Right? Like medical marijuana is like fully legal and accessible now.
What year are we in now?
2009.
Okay.
2009. So So yeah, it's like
Hydro is bigger on this time too.
Yes, exactly. So
hydroponic. I remember
everybody's
like
able to grow more and more and more.
Yeah.
What that's going to do is drop the price, right?
Yeah.
Or put a cap on how much you can get. Excuse me, wholesale for a pound of weed, right? Because we don't deal in kilos, we deal in pounds.
Yep.
So
for weed.
Yes.
Yeah. For the audience, kilos is only a drug and heroin and meth thing. Marijuana is always pounds.
Yes, we're American. We use the metric system.
Yeah.
So, or is it not the metric system? Kilos is the metric system.
Kilos is the metric system.
We use whatever is not the metric system.
For marijuana.
What is the metric? What is the R? We use the imperial system, right?
Which is interesting because even in the law enforcement side, we would use pounds only for weed.
Right.
Kilos for everything else. It's so weird.
But you know what?
Yeah.
I noticed they do it with meth now.
Use pounds for meth?
Yes, because it comes from Mexico. They know that their product's making it to American markets only, so they're dealing with the imperial system.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But it's getting harder to just move the shit, right? Yeah. And so now it's becoming a problem of demand rather than supply.
Yeah.
So it's like, and we saw the writing on the wall, like legalization's coming.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah.
Like we're about to get put out of business.
Yep.
And it's like Malcolm X said, the only thing I feared back then more than jail was a job. And that was like my mentality. I'm like, I'm living so good. Go travel into fucking Argentina, Colombia. I lived down there for a while.
Yeah.
I would just take 6 months off and give the business to my partner and have him manage it, and I would go fuck off and live on a beach, right?
Oh shit.
So, but now it's like reality.
How much are you making now at this point in 2009?
Yeah, probably about the same.
Okay.
Probably, moving like 20 pounds a week.
Okay.
Which is really good.
All right.
But our margins, it's not how much you move, it's about how much margin you're making per profit.
Margins are going down.
Yeah, so margins are going down a little bit.
So you either got to sell more.
Yes.
Okay.
Or charge more. You got to sell more. You got to sell more.
Yeah.
Or you have to become like, buying like super high end shit and breaking it down.
I remember Hydro became super popular around this time.
Right, exactly.
From the law enforcement side.
Right, you're buying a pound of Hydro will go for like $4,000. And that's the shit that's indoor and it's beautiful and it just gets you so fucking high.
Yeah.
But there's a limited supply of that.
Yep.
So we dealt in outdoor grown commercial bud, which was still really good.
Of course.
But you could move it fast and everywhere.
Yep.
So I knew a guy through another friend that I met while I was on a study abroad. This is such a white boy story. I was studying abroad in Argentina, and I met one of my good friends to this day, and he was connected with a bunch of cats who were like the sons of like mafia guys, old mob guys out of Philly.
Oh, shit.
And they all went to like
Italian Mafia.
Yeah,
Oh, shit.
But all their kids are like spoiled fucking brats,
Yeah.
and they're all on pills and shit, but they're nice kids. I met a lot of them. And they're big time weed dealers, and they were looking for a connect. They were looking for a West Coast connect.
Yep.
The way I needed
drugs used to be frowned upon with the mafia, but they turned a blind eye.
Exactly. And these aren't mob
kids,
mobbed up kids. They're just from criminal cultures.
Yeah.
So they're looking to expand, and they need like the wholesale plug. And back in the day, if you were like a weed dealer specifically on the East Coast, you wanted like a Cali Connect.
Of course.
Because we had the best prices for them.
And the best quality weed.
Yes, exactly.
Compared to the East Coast bullshit.
Exactly. So, I was like, well, hey, look, I'm looking to expand the market. And I'm like, what do you think they would pay for like a pound of this shit I got? And they were like, yeah, he was like, I don't know, probably 35, 4,000. I was like, oh, I think that would work.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting them for 22 now.
Yep.
And flipping it to them for 35, that's $1,300 profit per pound.
Yep, per pound.
Now, if I can do
20 pounds of that.
If I can do 20 a week, this becomes $1 million operation very quickly.
Yep.
And then I ended up doing 50 a week by the end.
Wow.
You know what I mean? So it's like, and this is now I'm getting pounds for $2,000 during the wet season, the harvest season.
Yep.
I'm picking it up from these guys from Sinaloa who are operating out of those, Northern California forests, and they're sending all the money back to Mexico.
Of course.
Right? And
because Mexican weed sucks.
Right.
It has seeds in it. It's fucking trash.
But that was considered good back in the day, too.
Oh,
so it's
really?
Because it was the Colombian weed.
Who's the seeds that showed on the border and laugh? Like, what the fuck? Who buys this?
But it's all a matter of perspective, right?
Okay.
Like Colombian weed eliminated Mexican weed eliminated the Colombian weed.
Yeah.
They were like, oh, this Panama Red is garbage.
Yeah.
Check out this shit I got from Mexico.
Yeah.
And back in 1981, they were like, oh, this is great shit.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps like scaling up and getting
Gotcha.
better. So yeah, you couldn't move any Mexican weed.
Yeah.
By 2009, there's
Yeah.
no market for that.
Yeah.
So
I'm still shocked they get it at the border to this day, man.
well, I think they're growing it better now.
Okay.
They're figuring out how to actually grow indoor hydro down in Mexico, and they're exporting it.
Gotcha.
That's what I think's happening, or growing it like to the standards that we grow it here. So anyways, so that was the lick. By the end, before I took a fall, at the end of 2010, I was strictly exporting my pounds from Oregon to,
Philly.
to Philly, New York,
Okay.
Atlanta,
Okay.
Ohio.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because a bunch of these mob kids were in these different cities.
Yeah, and just
Okay.
and I would just meet through them. I would just meet other connects. I had Dominican guys in Washington Heights, Manhattan.
Yeah.
They were the most thorough. I
Yep.
love dealing with those guys because
Yeah.
these were like drug dealers.
Oh yeah.
Like drug
Washington
dealing.
Heights?
That's where you go to
Hello,
cop.
guy. Yeah.
That's where you go to cop uptown.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like they'd be like, how much you get from me? I was like, I only got 30 pounds. They were like, what? You only got 30? I'm already sold out. What's going on? I have these sold already.
Yeah.
I need 50. Like I could never get them enough.
Yeah.
And they were very, very thorough. You know what I mean? Whereas like the white boys were like, they were sloppier. Because when you're dark, when you're black and brown,
Yep.
you just got a target on you more.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
you're
yeah.
more careful.
Were you ever worried about like these guys getting busted and then coming back to you?
I was worried about that, but I was also like, in my mind, I'm like, okay, I've created some separation because I'm sending all this shit through the mail. So it's like, at least I've got phony names and phony IDs.
So they never knew you, or you never met any of these guys.
I did meet them.
Some of them? Okay.
But I only met most of them just once, and not their whole crew, just one guy.
Gotcha.
And
that was your POC.
Exactly. And they didn't have any info on me except that, my name was John,
Yep.
right? So
Tall white guy.
Exactly. So I never delivered drugs to them personally, and it was always through intermediaries that I sent the boxes off, or
So you did everything through the mail.
and through pods. Like the mobile storage units, those white things
shit.
where, like, if you're moving, like if you got to move your house, or if you're moving your furniture, say from Oregon to Miami,
Yeah.
you rent this pod out, they put all your furniture in there, and then they ship it, and then you give them the address, and then a week later, you know where it's going to be. So
shit.
let's just put 50 joints in there and send it off to New York,
Wow.
Yeah.
And then they'd go and pick it up.
Yeah. So the postman and the UPS and the FedEx.
Did you ever get worried?
They
Sending
delivered the
drugs
dope
through the
for me.
mail, because automatically you send it through the mail, postal inspector is going to be involved, federal automatically.
Yeah, I did think about that. For sure.
Okay.
But I'm just ripping and running. Like, to me, it's the fastest way to get from A to B. I can
Of
get
course.
10 pounds to Philly by 10 a.m. tomorrow.
Wow.
That's unbelievable logistics.
Yeah.
And I can see it over the internet. I can track it every step of the way. And I know if it doesn't make it by 10 a.m., like I paid for,
Yeah.
that's a dead package. Don't touch that.
Yeah. Of course.
So that was quite the lick.
I believe it, man. So you're now out of college, a couple years, making a bunch of money.
Yeah.
Well, you're making, at this point now, you're making like what, $500K a year at this point?
Yeah. No, the last year we did 1.5.
1.5
Yeah.
million. So you're doing this for a few years now. You're meeting people and everything else like that. What happens next?
So now I'm trying to clean up my cash, right?
Yeah.
Because
now we're at the 1.5. You're earning 1.5.
Yeah.
So that's $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
More than 100K a month.
Exactly. So
$50K each.
right. Well, actually, my partner's out of the game, so I'm taking all that money.
Where'd he go?
He just retired.
He said, "Fuck it."
Yeah.
Did he make enough and went straight?
Yes, and he paid off all of his, like, he bought a house, paid off the mortgage with it, paid off the student loans with it. Like, he's real, like, that's like that's how
That's how you're supposed to do it.
That's a successful drug dealer.
Yeah.
That's as successful as it gets.
Yeah.
Is getting out of the game. You know what I mean?
What do he do to like sustain himself after?
He had a degree, so he just got a job and he was working.
shit.
Yeah, now
A real job.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna talk about where he works now, but it's
Yeah.
you'd be shocked who he works for now. Like,
Okay.
it's he's not like a cop or anything, but it's
Yeah.
like a really like a good company.
Never got back,
reputable
never got
brand.
caught, nothing.
Not once.
fucking awesome.
for nothing. Yeah,
Good for him. That's the way to do it, guys. For all the drug dealers out there, that's what you're supposed to do.
It's quitting while you're ahead. That's the only way.
Yeah, literally. Wow.
Yeah. So and I just didn't think that way, man. I'm just like, God, 1 million is nice, but 2 million, it's got that ring to it. You know what I mean?
Shit. So he got out way before this 1.5 million.
Yeah,
thing.
Exactly. He got out before I started shipping it.
Oh, he got out early.
He missed out on a lot of money.
Okay.
Yeah.
He got out when y'all were making
when we were making $100K a year.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Each. Okay.
So
he did that for like 1 or 2 years and got out.
Yeah. He was working with me from the beginning of college, end of high school, all the way till until we graduated college. A little bit after, yeah. So
he probably earned about $500K and got out.
So he did well. Yeah, he did well, but he didn't get rich. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck, let's make millions off of this shit. Like,
he got out to pay his debt.
Exactly.
Have a cushion to buy a house. Get the fuck out.
Yeah, and I'm like, shit. Well, let's make hay while the sun shines.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
So. Yeah, so
now you're in it by yourself.
I'm in it by myself.
No one else helping you.
No, I got a guy driving for me. I got a guy stashing for me. I got a guy helping me box it up. I got, contracting to people to take it and drop it off at the
How many stash
FedEx
houses
store.
are you operating at this point?
I rotate one every month usually.
Okay.
Right?
All the work, one location, you're rotating it.
Exactly.
Between different locations.
The problem is I'm keeping most of the money on me because I don't trust anyone. You know what I mean? Obviously,
How much would you have dope wise at a location at a time typically at this point?
If we bring in 50 pounds, then 20 are already gone right away.
Okay.
I tried to line everything up like that because I don't want to sit on drugs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So 2 boxes are going out, 3 boxes are going out, getting rid of 20 right away.
So you're sitting on at any time somewhere between 20 to 50 pounds at a time.
Exactly.
Never more than that. Mostly, you're sitting on mostly 20 pounds at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Because
20's
gone right away. Yeah, and then over the next week we get rid of the other 20.
Okay. And then you're moving that from place to place. And then how much cash are you sitting on at a time?
I mean, dude, I carried at least 400,000 or 500,000 with me. Like I would just rent apartments like around Portland, just furnished. I had no belongings. I was like a minimalist. I would have a suitcase full of stuff.
Yep.
And my cash, and I would just put first last deposit down on an apartment and just walk in.
Wow.
And I would just rotate spots like that. It was kind of fun, dude.
How long would you stay at a location? Like 6 months?
A couple of months. No, like 3 months. You know what I mean?
They'd let you get at least that short, or would you just like keep it for a year?
Just month to month. Just like I would just pay.
They
like
you do that?
Yeah, especially back then, bro. This is before Airbnb, and this is like the recession, 2010. It's like people are hurting.
Yeah.
So you just pay good people off.
Yeah,
like
you're right.
Good people that aren't corruptible when they need money, they'll look the other way
because they're probably upside down on that property and they're stuck with it.
Exactly.
So like, let me get some fucking money. Yeah,
exactly.
You're right.
Yeah, and I just didn't get around, dude. You think about
it's a fucking recession. Meanwhile, you're walking around 400K.
Exactly. So you think about, and then of course I have 100,000 in a safe deposit box under my brother's name. I got a couple 100,000 stashed at my mom's house. Right. I got storage units with cash and boxes there. So and I'm like, okay, I need to start washing some of this. It's going to take time to clean up this money.
Of course.
And I'm going to lose, I'm going to pay a tax on it. Because if I buy, if I start flipping Jordan sneakers and buying them for $1,000 and I sell them for 600, at least I can declare that 600.
Yeah.
But I've still got tax 40% on it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So it's like you're going to pay a tax if you're a drug dealer, wher you want to or not.
Yep.
Yeah. So but I just didn't get to it fast enough. You know what I mean? Like it was just, I just didn't survive on the streets long enough to see that fulfilled. Because my plan was to get out of the game. I knew I was going down.
Okay.
And we had a stash house raided in 2009. Well, it's really kind of why my partner ended up quitting, is because he didn't get caught that time, but I did. I was there, and we got set up just by one of our workers, and got raided. But it was like 5 pounds, couple of $1,000. It wasn't much, right? It was just it wasn't feds. It was just local pigs.
Yeah.
Right. And
you were at the house at the time?
Yeah.
Oh
and
shit! Did you get arrested?
Yeah, I got arrested. My man got away, and
your buddy, your partner.
Yeah. So which was fine. You know what I mean? He got out after that, but and they were trying to get me to flip on my guys, my connects, but bro, in my mind, I'm like, I'm not telling on the connect. I'm about to blow this business up. I need him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of
That's
course.
the plug.
Did you lower your, hey, I only got caught with a few pounds. I don't know what the fuck you guys are talking about. Just a worker.
No, exactly. I
You
did
played
that.
dumb, right?
Yeah. And I was
Smart.
Fresh out of college, no criminal record. So I got a really good lawyer, and I just pleaded out to a suspended sentence. I got a felony, but no jail time.
Yeah.
Right. But now I'm on the radar.
Of course.
So I know if I get popped, again, I'm going down.
Yeah.
So the pressure is definitely on.
So did you reverse engineer and figure out how they basically put the press on? What, they traffic stopped one of your guys or some shit? How they?
I don't know how.
When you got the discovery?
I don't know how he got jammed up, but he did a controlled buy, like we were talking about on my episode, right? He had marked money and he went in, and this was a guy that was picking up pounds, and he just did that a couple of times, and they got a warrant, and
But they didn't know who owned or operated the stash house. They just thought you were a worker there too.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Exactly. So, I got a slap on the wrist, relatively speaking.
Yeah.
And
Just local PD.
exactly.
Okay.
But now I'm federal. Now I'm moving it all across the country through the mail. This is stupid and brazen, right? But I was getting so much money.
So you started moving it in the mail after you got tagged like this.
Exactly.
You still took the
I was still doing it small time through the mail, but then when we got hit, I was like, I'm not dealing with anybody else locally. I'm only because I was trying to create that.
So that was the impetus
separation.
to
Exactly.
Okay, so ironically enough, you actually took a little bit more risk to avoid the culpability of people working next to you.
Because what do we always say? Possession is 9/10 of the law.
The law, absolutely.
So I thought there could be some deniability. There could be some mitigating circumstances if I get jammed up. And I was right.
So you get jammed up. At this point, you got the stash house situation where you're rotating it. You carrying the cash with you. How many workers do you have for you at this point now that you don't trust anybody or you're worried?
You mean workers buying from me?
No, guys like that, or who's moving the stash of drugs? Only you?
No, me and my guy. My guy's rotating it, so I would tell him
your partner that got out? Or
No.
Another
the guy that was
another
running.
guy you trust.
The guy was basically just guarding it. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We would pay different people to keep it there. You know what I mean? And again, these are college kids who don't have any jobs.
Yeah.
So $500 a month, they're paying their rent. That's a big deal.
Did they even know what was in it?
We would tell them, we got a couple of pounds of weed.
Okay.
We got a couple of pounds of weed, and then we walk up there with fucking 4 duffel bags.
Yeah. And they didn't care because they're like, all right, I'll just take the money.
Yeah.
And then, so you had one trusted guy that would move it for you, basically.
Exactly.
At that point. So you downsized significantly once that happened.
Exactly.
Okay, fair enough. So only point of failure was that guy, and then the mail system, really, because you're moving it across the country.
Exactly.
So you don't got to deal with you don't got to worry about, all you got to worry about is storage of it to mail it before you mail it, and then carrying the cash.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Right.
So the problem came with the cash. Cash was the big problem.
I was going to say they always trace it back.
And that's what ended up taking me down was not the work, it was the cash. So, I would get packages of money sometimes that would show up, $30,000, and it just smelled like people have been smoking blunts and blowing the smoke all over the bills. I'm like, guys, you can't wrap the money this way. You got to wrap my money like I wrap your work. You got to vacuum seal it.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Be really careful. The feds go after money. They interdict money. That's
huge.
That's a more effective strategy than going after the drugs.
Yeah, way more.
So, because I can lose all the product I want, right? I can I got such good credit with my connects that if we lose a package of 10, we can figure it out. We'll either split the loss or it's not a big
at
deal.
this point you're getting drugs at consignment.
Exactly.
So
I never took consignment, but I could take it if I wanted to.
Really?
Never
Okay,
took
so you're always paying up front for it.
Yes, I'm getting it from these guys, these Mexican guys, and it's I don't want to owe them anything.
Gotcha.
Unless I have to.
Okay.
So, because they would always offer, because if I'm picking up 50, they'd be like, take another 50, please.
Yeah.
When they see you're really moving it, they're like, God, they really love you. So, but I was like, nah, I just
you
to
don't
take
want the
what I pay for. Yeah, exactly.
Fair enough.
So
you lose it. You don't got to deal with no bullshit.
Exactly.
That's actually if more drug traffickers were like you, they wouldn't get caught. They wouldn't have to worry about consignment, because that's a big problem when you take drugs on consignment.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, shit. Okay. So at this point, you got a bunch of money. You don't know what to do with it. You're making $100K a month.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy.
Yeah, I'm looking into buying this piece of property in Colombia. So I love Colombia, or I did, right? As any, fucking pussy addicted asshole who's 24.
Of course.
It's a fun place. And it was just starting to explode as a tourist destination.
Oh, yeah.
So
this is before. This is what 2010 now.
Yeah.
2011. Yeah, this is before like the passport bro movement and everything. Like Colombia used to be the best kept secret.
Thank you.
Before
Best kept secret.
people fucked it up though.
Yeah, of course, and I knew they would.
Now it's fucked up.
Now it's like Medellin is like the Cabo of South America.
Oh, yeah,
it's
dude.
fucking whack. I went back
can't
there
go.
like 5 years ago. I'm like, this is
I was there
ridiculous.
in October, man.
Yeah.
It's prostitutes everywhere.
Yeah.
It's fucking terrible,
Bro, it was like this fucking,
terrible.
you'd see these like Dutch guys like stumbling down the street in like flip flops, like so coked out.
They
just
fucked it up for everybody, bro.
And you're like, I should rob you on principle.
Yeah.
Bro. I should go pay this cat with a fucking from the slums to just body you. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But a lot of people are getting killed now.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
A lot
yeah.
of they're getting set up by a lot of prostitutes. That's a whole business now.
Yeah,
is robbing these
because all
cats.
these idiots have come down there and,
Idiots.
and infiltrated the place. Colombia used to be a place you like. Shh, don't tell nobody.
Right.
Go to Colombia.
Exactly.
It's fucking lit. Girls are
Exactly.
hot. No issues. Now there's just a fucking brothel.
Hey, let me
over
look
there.
at the camera and tell your fans,
Yeah.
she don't love you.
Yeah, facts.
Remember that when you're in Medellin,
Yeah.
and you think you've met the one, she don't love you.
She does not. She does not, guys.
But I knew I could just look around back in 2010 and be like, okay, in 10 years, this place is going to be overrun with tourist money.
Yeah.
So I was in Cartagena and in the north, and it was like this little
Around
town.
the water.
Exactly.
Really
and I
nice.
was like, oh shit, I can fucking, and I knew I was like seeing a girl who was connected, and she actually lives in the States now. I talked to her recently. She's doing great.
Shit,
She got
nice.
out, but her fucking, her uncle was involved with this money launderer. Her uncle was a money launderer.
shit, yeah.
And so she connected me with this cat, and I was going to buy this piece of basically raw land and develop it into like it was either going to be a hotel or a hostel or just an Airbnb.
That was gonna be your out. That was gonna be
fire.
Yeah.
That would really work. And then that's where I would put like a big chunk of the money, and then the rest could just be laundered, piecemeal, little by little,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so I was going to give him $400,000. I was going to bring it to his man in New Jersey, and I was going to have to move the money. I was going to bring it to his contact in the States, and then his guy was going to call down to Colombia and be like, okay, he brought us the money. Then he was going to buy the property for me and then put it into my name.
Gotcha.
That's how that laundering scheme was going to work.
Gotcha.
But I never got around to it. The guy ended up getting smoked. He got killed.
Oh fuck. Okay.
You can't get funny with those people's money, bro.
Of course not.
Those people are still dangerous. Like
Of
it doesn't
course.
even as many tourists as there are, bro. You'll get killed in Colombia.
100%.
So, and so that was like, fuck. Damn,
So you
what am I
couldn't
gonna
do
do with all
that?
this cash? And I just kind of felt the walls closing in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
What
And,
year is this now at this point?
It's the end of 2010.
Okay.
And I was like, shit, bro. And I was getting depressed, and I don't know. I was feeling like my world was like getting smaller and smaller. Because when you are that level of the game, you
Yeah, you're
isolate.
paranoid. Yeah.
You're paranoid. You isolate. You can't tell your loved ones what you're doing.
Every high level drug trafficker I've ever arrested, it's funny, when after you arrest them, they always fall asleep.
Best sleep of my life
Yeah.
was my first night in jail.
Yeah.
Oh, I can finally go to bed now.
Yeah.
It's like I slept 5 years in one night.
Yeah. They're always paranoid, but sorry, continue on.
No,
So,
I'm getting emotional now.
yeah.
Oh, it's so gay. Anyways.
No, dude. I've been. Trust me, I get that first night of sleep with any crook is always.
Oh, it was such a relief.
Yeah.
So to know it was over.
Yeah.
But anyways, so what happened was, as I told you, a lot of times the money, never from the Dominicans. The Dominicans always had my money, like they overpaid, and it was just everything worked incredible with them. But
Because they're dealing with worse drugs.
exactly, and they're just.
Weed is nothing for them.
But they just know how to sell drugs. They
Yeah.
just know what
Yeah.
time it is. They're
Yep.
just very professional.
Yep.
Shout out to the Dominican
Shout
community.
out to the Dominicans out there, man. The best drug traffickers.
So they really are, man.
Yeah.
So, and there's nothing. By the way, there's nothing gangster
Guys in
about
the back
them.
laughing,
There's nothing. The Haitian guy's laughing.
Yeah,
Haiti,
yeah.
you need to get your shit together. So the other end of the island. So, but these white boys are just. It's very like they're kind of sloppy. And
Yeah.
so one day they're sending me back a package with I think it was like 37,000.
Oh, I was gonna say that. So when you got paid back, what I was gonna ask. I didn't want to interrupt. They always just sent you cash back through the mail?
Oh yeah, yeah. Nowadays, bro, it would be like Bitcoin. Like
Yeah.
there's so many other ways now
Yeah.
to hide it.
Yep.
I feel like the story it would have been different.
Yeah.
But back then it's like
Crypto wasn't a thing back then.
yeah,
Let's just keep it
exactly. And
honest.
it's like I'm not gonna jump on a plane, fly there, and then drive the money back. I can't
Nah.
do that 4 times a week.
No,
it's just not gonna
that's
happen.
fucking terrible.
I know some people do that. They have like
lot.
mules that do that.
Yep.
But like for me, it's like, no, I'd rather just risk it through the mail.
Yep. So they ship the money back.
Exactly.
Okay.
So a package of money, like I said, had about $37K in it. It was in like the FedEx sorting facility in Memphis, where the whole hub is.
Yep.
And a drug sniffing dog just hit on it.
Oh.
And they just simply traced the package back to me in Portland.
Yep.
And so, and they were good. They didn't hold the package up. It looked good going through the tracking.
Yep. Because you probably watched that like a hawk, right?
Exactly.
Yep.
And so I had different locations where I would have the money packages sent to. Sometimes it was to private residences, but most of the times it was like different mailboxes where I would pay people to set up for me, like put under their name.
Yep.
And then I usually didn't even need an ID. I could just go in there and pick it up for them.
Yep.
Or pick it up for me, rather.
Yep.
And that was my problem. I shouldn't have been picking it up myself. I should have been sending my worker. But it's like I'm getting paranoid. And it's like I don't trust
large
anybody.
Sums of money.
I can trust people with the work, but with the money, I was too hands-on. I was real hands-on. So I grabbed this package, and I had another package of like 50 grand that I just picked up from a different location across town. Bro,
so you got 87K on you.
Every day is the lotto, bro.
Yeah.
It's like God, I don't know. It was like a religious experience.
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Imagine that.
Yeah.
I was never supposed to be here. I went from that from 16 years old.
And in your early 20s making that kind of money.
Yeah, 24
You're
years
picking
old.
up $87,000.
I went
Cash. It's one thing to see it in a bank account. It's another thing to have that shit cash.
Yeah. Went from dime bags on the rainy streets of Portland at 16 years old to now 8 years later. I'm like a high level, I call it a kingpin, but I was just a trafficker. You know what I mean? Making good money. So they followed me. They actually like
when you picked up the 37.
Yeah.
Okay.
I put it in my trunk. I was driving a Dodge Charger. You know what I mean?
Oh, shit.
That was a hot car back in 2010.
Yeah,
that was the dope fiend whip back then.
Might as well be black.
Exactly, bro. Exactly. It wasn't orange though. It wasn't candy.
Thank God.
It wasn't candy paint.
What color was it?
It was gray.
Okay.
So it almost looked like a squad car.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Almost like it looked like an undercover car. So I'm taking a right, and I'm in my neighborhood, and I see this Suburban behind me, and it lights up, and I know exactly what time it was, and so I just hit it.
Yeah.
I took him on a high speed. I was going like 90 through residential streets.
Oh, fuck. Okay.
And they backed off.
Ooh.
They backed off. And I asked my lawyer, I'm like, why the fuck did they do that? And he's like, well, that's a mandate. Is a lot of times they're not supposed to give high-speed chases through residential neighborhoods because it's really unsafe and they could be held liable if they hit a kid or whatever.
Yep.
And thank God, I mean, think about how much worse
And at that point,
it
it's a hunch on some money. It's like
exactly. So
they can't say you're a dangerous felon or some shit like that.
Exactly. So I parked the car in kind of this like secluded area close to my parents' house, and I waited till it was almost dark. And where I was living at the time, one of these like short-term rentals, was only like a mile from my parents' house.
Gotcha.
So I picked up the 2 money bags and I just walked back to where I was staying. And mind you, I never had the fucking anything in my name. I didn't.
Who did the car belong to? Because you already know they were running those tags like crazy.
Yeah. The car belonged to my brother.
Okay.
And the apartment was under my name.
Okay.
Another thing that was odd that I normally don't do.
Yeah.
But it's hard to keep it tight all the time.
Yeah. Especially when you're like moving every other, and it's a pain in the ass, and it's like, okay. So
I get back to my apartment. So the car's in
your brother's name.
Yeah. The car's in the brother's name. There's nothing it doesn't trace back to anything, right? He has no priors or anything like that. Yep. But they ran the plates, and they say, okay, and they know Mitchell. So they're running that name, right? My name's not on the money packages, but they're running Mitchell. And now I'm a felon. I'm in the system. And I still to this day don't exactly know how they found me, but,
So wasn't it a discovery?
Half an hour. That's what I'm saying, bro. I told you cops lie in the discovery. I don't know how they found.
This is the state.
Yes, exactly. It was the local vice and drug squad. It was the local detectives that found me. They found the crib I was living at. Half an hour after I got back, I hear bum, 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 bum. The cop knock on the door. Yeah, and so I look out, and I was like, "What's up? What's going on?" And they were like, Portland PD, open the door. And I'm like, do you guys have a warrant? And they were like, open the door. I'm like, okay, so they don't have a warrant.
Yeah. Because they would have kicked the door in if they
busted the door in.
Yeah.
So I made them go get a warrant. And by the time I got back, it was dark. And
this is still during the day at this point.
Yes, exactly. This is September, so it's still the pretty long days. They get back, pound on the door again. They got the warrant. I'm like, just don't kick the door in. It's a nice lady. I open it up. You know, I was like, I don't have anything.
You actually stayed. You didn't run.
No, I didn't run because they're waiting. They're posted up outside the house.
Fuck. Okay.
So
yeah,
and
so they really sat. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. And I'm trying to get my story straight. I'm trying to compose myself. And I got some loose weed in there. That I'm flushing down the toilet, but I don't have any work at the crib. I never keep work with me.
Smart.
But they got a whole shitload of money, right? Mm-hmm. They got like, $500,000 of cash.
You had $500,000 with you that day.
$500,000 and like fucking 2 gigantic Ziploc bags full of burner phones.
Oh, shit. So yeah, they can.
So they got all this money, right? But they don't have any product. And again, it's just like 3 white boys.
Yep.
They're like, what the fuck? Who are you, motherfucker? And they were pissed off. I took them on a high speed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
But this was not
you were living there by yourself, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And it was just this really nice, 1-bedroom apartment on top of another house. And I had the whole floor. And it was just like really just like a lovely Portland neighborhood. I don't know how else to describe it, you know? And they just grilled me. And I'm like, okay, they're asking me all these questions. They don't know who I am.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, fuck, okay. Yeah, that means they don't know anything.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, fuck, these motherfuckers just got lucky.
Yep.
I was stupid. They got lucky, which I think you could tell me as a drug cop. I think that's pretty common. I think
yes, when it comes to local PDs, etc. A lot of the times, they get fucking lucky, bro, when they get hits like that. And you got to remember, that's probably the biggest hit that they've ever had.
Right.
So
how often they find a fucking skinny, goofy white boy? With like
the
cartel
fears of
amounts
a Fed
of money.
walks in. That's when, because then they've been looking at me for a bit.
Well, they radioed their DEA guy, and he came through.
Okay.
And he came through, and he was, and so
probably because of the amount of money.
Exactly. And so they're running my name. They're like, okay, and then I try to bribe them before the DEA guy gets there.
Oh, shit.
Of course I tried to pay my way out.
Yeah, of course.
I'm like, I've come this far.
Yeah. Let me see if that works.
And I'm like, guys, your sergeant's not even here. These are poor. This is not the feds. I'm like, just say I got away, bro. This is $500,000 cash right here just because I knew I had my get the fuck out of town money.
Yep.
I'm like, just...
Where'd you have, how much other cash did you have at this point?
I had another... 600
in cash sitting somewhere else probably?
Yeah, that's to my best of my knowledge. I might even have more than that. But I knew that I had...
So when you got caught, you had $1 million cash on you pretty much.
Yeah, I had more than $1 million cash. But I knew that I had 200 at my parents' house that I could dig up really quick. The other shit I had in different safe deposit boxes that I would need access to.
Gotcha.
So I'm like...
But you had 200 you can get right away.
Right, exactly. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, this is my, I'm just going to run.
Yeah.
I'll go to Colombia. You know what I mean? And then I'll worry about the rest later, right? Yep. And then maybe I'll turn myself in years from now after I get the hotel built. All these things, your fucking mind is moving so fast. You're so scared. You're just, you're thinking crazy. But, and I was like, I'll turn myself in tomorrow. Whatever. I was saying all this shit. And but they ended up charging me with bribery. But it didn't stick, bro. That's such a hard thing to prove. It's them versus me. They didn't have body cams on. These are all undercovers.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So, but shout out to the Portland PD, I guess, you fucking Boy Scouts. You dorks. Could have paid for your kids' private school. Anyways.
Damn it, they weren't dirty. Fuck.
If these had been East Coast Italians, bro,
maybe
they'd be on a new fishing boat.
NYPD in the 70s. Yeah, NYPD in the 70s, yeah.
Exactly. Some Dominican guys out of Florida.
Yeah, maybe.
You want to talk about corruption?
Yeah.
Florida. But yeah, so and they knew that I was connected.
Yeah. But the amount of money,
Yeah, so and so they tried
did the DEA guy ask you any questions or no?
He was not as aggressive. He was like, okay, can we flip him? Like they were like, okay, he's probably a weed guy, but maybe he has some maybe he can lead us.
Did he ask you any questions?
He was cool as fuck. He was like, you know what time it is. They would tell on you. You know what I mean? It's like, we're gonna bring you down. We got you. He's really playing the good cop thing. He's like, we got so much evidence on you. We know you're on suspended sentence. A guy from my old bust showed up, a real cool cop, And he was like disappointed. He was like, well, first of all, he was like, God damn. I was like, Mitchell, you really fucking leveled up, didn't you? And I was like, fuck. So I kind of felt bad. I'm like, for like not turning my life around after he busted me the first time.
Because he caught you the first time.
Yeah, because he was cool.
With like 2 pounds, right?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, he's going to quit. He's
with
done
some
with
turn
this
your
shit.
life around money. We just scared him.
Because keep in mind, he thought that you were a low-level guy just being a stash house operator.
Exactly.
Next thing you know, they catch you with a Ziploc full of phones and $400,000 cash. They're like, what the fuck? This guy's a regional guy.
They're like, oh, he's really fucking timing. Like, he's really doing this. So, and even cops respect that shit. You know what I mean? So, and I was like, I'm sorry about that whole high speed thing. Like I was really leveling with them. I'm like, I didn't mean to do that shit with you guys. I was just scared,
Yeah.
So then they took me downtown and.
So what they officially booked you on? Bribery and what else?
Money laundering. They tried to put a dope charge on me. Yeah. Right.
No drugs though.
No, but I kept it game tight. So every fucking week.
Did you say I want a lawyer, or did you say, or you just didn't talk?
No, I knew my lawyer was gonna get caught. I was like, guys, I can't. I can barely speak. I've got cotton mouth. I've got so much adrenaline. I haven't eaten all day. I'm exhausted. Okay. I was out partying the night before. I'm like, I can't, even if I want to talk to you guys, I can't do it right now.
All right, so you played it off.
Yeah, so and my lawyer's paid. He's a dirty drug lawyer, dude. I've sat at cafes with this fat I called him the fat man.
Yeah.
He's a great guy.
Better Call Saul type shit.
Exactly. He had 4 fingers on one hand. I don't know what that was about. No joke. I'm not making this up. He had 4 fingers. But I was
took some drugs on consignment then.
Yeah, exactly. Or he lost a couple of cases for some bad dudes.
Yeah.
But
you want another one?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Sure?
Maybe it's just some water. Actually.
Okay.
But so I called him, and I was like, my first call when I went downtown was to my mom, of course. Who's the first person you call when you get in trouble?
Of
call
course.
your mom.
Yeah, of course.
And I was like, Mom, I'm so sorry, I fucked up. I need you to call the fat man. That was the code.
Yeah.
So he came and saw it. So they booked me, charged me. I'm on probation, so there's no bonding out. I got cash to bail out for days.
Of course.
They didn't even give me a bail.
Of course
right?
not with that kind of money.
And they fucking revoked my passport too, because they were like,
makes sense.
Flight
risk huge.
Exactly. If I was able to get out, bro, this cat's got money.
Yep.
So I was like, Jesus, this is serious. Like, what the fuck have I done? And so I'm no joke, for the first 3 weeks as I'm in jail, languishing, and I've never been in jail before, and so you're just completely beaten down because you don't know the process, right? I'm already fighting. I'm already like learning prison politics.
Oh shit!
So every other day,
you're just sitting in a jail. You're not even in a prison yet, right?
Yeah, I'm not even in the dorms. I'm in like high security jail. I'm in the downtown Multnomah County jail where it's 23 and 1.
Yeah,
you're still 23 hours a day, and then you get a little yard time, but it's brutal.
Why are you fighting with guys?
Because that's when you go to jail, it's immediately, especially in a place like Oregon that's so disorganized, like you fade immediately, or else you have to go to PC, protective custody. I got to sit with the fucking sex offenders. No thanks. I'll just fight. I don't care if I get my ass beat.
What'd you end up fighting for that first time?
Just respect, just to stay on the main line.
Really?
Yeah. So it was.
You just get in first night.
Yeah. And I saw who I had to fight, which is this big skinhead dude who I ended up bidding with in prison later. Ended up being actually a pretty cool dude. But so we went in the bathroom and we stood on our feet, just bam, 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 for like 45 seconds till we're exhausted. And the guard broke it up. Didn't even send us to the hole. He's like, he knew what it was about. He's like, oh, these guys just came in here. Just go back to your cells, you fucks.
Guard just let it happen.
Yeah. So sometimes you fight, you don't even get a hole shot. That's how much fighting's going on in there. You know what I mean? Or worse. So,
all right.
But I was so, the feds would send people down, like the DEA guy. He'd be like, Mitchell, you got a visitor. So it was either my lawyer, I almost said his name. I should get, shout out to Gorski. If you get in trouble in Portland, see if Mr. Gorski, a big fat Polak, is still living. He's a terrific drug lawyer. But,
oh, shit.
So if it wasn't him, it was these DEA guys, and they're like, "Have you had enough?
Trying to come in and flip
Have you had enough?" Like
I used to do that. I used to do that.
You used to go down to jails.
I used to let them sit in jail for a few days and come back.
Bro, and that's the mechanism, because it's torturous in there. They twist you, and they're like, "Just wait, he's gonna crack."
Yep.
But the thing is,
I used to do that shit all the time.
And the thing about it is,
how many times did DEA try to come and talk to you?
4 times.
4 times. And you were there for how long?
Well, I ended up being in jail for 8 months because I didn't cooperate.
Oh.
Because my lawyer was not one of those lawyers that's like, I don't work with rats. Bro, you wouldn't have any business. Don't believe any lawyer who's like, I don't work with snitches.
They always do.
They say
that's how they get the best terms.
And also, they want shit to go to trial. And the Flores twins, who I'm friends with, who are going to come on the Connect, just a little teaser.
Nice.
The other guys, Chapo's the guys who took down Chapo.
Yeah.
These are the guys who are making $10 million a month. Doesn't get any higher than them.
Yeah.
They're like, drug lawyers want to go to trial because they could charge the most money.
Of course.
Too. So that's why they say don't work with rats. Like, lawyers are scumbags.
Yeah.
So my lawyer wasn't like that. He was like, look, you can definitely look. Here's your choices if you want to cooperate.
Yeah.
The problem is you could be working for these guys. You know how the feds are.
Yeah.
You bastards. There's no contract that says you will give us Senor Lopez and then you will walk free. It's like you're going to work until we say you're done. Yeah. We've had guys on my show that have cooperated that had to work for the feds for 10 years.
Yeah, I believe it.
And my lawyer was like, look, they just have a bunch of cash. All they have is cash. We can just turn it over to them. And now all we have to deal with is the state who doesn't have a drug case.
Yep.
But
because the feds didn't take it at this point. It's just a state case at this point, right?
Well, the feds originally picked it up. And then when we made the proffer, they turned it back over to the state.
Okay. I was going to say that next.
Yeah.
You don't cooperate until you get a proffer.
Right.
Is the key.
Exactly. Well, yeah, exactly. So,
because at that point, they can't use anything against you at the 5K proffer.
Right. So I didn't proffer. Proffering's the wrong. It was forfeiting. It was forfeiting.
Oh, okay. It
was forfeiting.
So you didn't cooperate at all. You didn't do shit.
I gave him. I said I will not contest the $500,000.
Okay, so you did not proffer. Let me make that fucking clear, everybody, for the audience.
No, I didn't.
He did not proffer. So that means you did not cooperate whatsoever.
I did not. Because my lawyer was like, look, you're gonna do. You got your probation revoked anyway. You're gonna do time. So let's just. Where's the rest of your money? Let's see if we can get these guys to forfeit the rest of your money, and then now. They'll turn it back over to the state, we hope. And now all you got to do is fight this bribery charge, which is shit. Mm-hmm. A drug trafficking charge, which we'll take it to the box. Yep. He was like, this pisses me off. They don't have any drugs. Now we're just really looking at a money laundering, reckless endangerment. Yep. We're taking them on a high speed, which we can get down. And we'll tie that in with the... We'll tie that in with the probation violation. We'll try to get you drug treatment while you're in there. Mm-hmm. You know, like we try to get you out in a couple of years. And I'm like, that's a lot better than cooperating with the feds for 10 years. I'd rather just go do 2 and try to just figure out my life. Okay. You know what I mean?
So you said at that point, what made you say, fuck it, I'm not talking to the police? Like what, because at this point you hadn't spent a lot of time in jail.
Yeah.
Did you have like maybe people that you knew that had cooperated that got fucked, or?
No, it was what my lawyer said. It was the fear.
The lawyer said don't do it.
The lawyer put the fear in. He said, I don't like this as much as the deal we can get. You know what I mean?
Okay.
And I'm already been in there fighting, and I'm like, okay, I survived the fights. I haven't been stabbed. You know, my crime is a good crime. I got good paperwork, meaning... Yeah. You know, these fucking OGs in there are like, what did this fucking dork, what did he get caught with? This kid was a fucking kingpin? Okay, I like him. Respect him.
Okay.
They respect intelligence in there. Yeah. And they respect somebody who's well-spoken and who they can't just go send on a dummy mission to go stab somebody in front of the guards.
Of course.
You know what I mean? Like, there is, like...
there is a respect. They're like robbers... high-level drug
dealers,
people
that have put in work.
Yeah, and they're gonna respect those. Bank robbers get respect.
Yeah, And also, I told them, the feds keep trying to get me to pop, and I won't do it. And they're like, they saw that I kept staying in jail. Yeah, they're like, okay, this kid's holding his water. Yeah, right. Yep. So. I'm like, let's just give them all my money. And I didn't give them all my money, but I gave them most of it. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, I had almost $1 million in cash, and I had this great lawyer, and my parents.
How much did you give them?
I gave them over $900,000 in cash.
God damn.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So basically, you said
I gave them the two lock boxes that I had. Yeah. With each had almost $200,000 bank account. Safe deposit boxes that I had.
So for you, basically in exchange for you forfeiting the cash, the feds agreed to not pursue federal charges against you. Yeah. And the case just stayed state.
It stayed state. So for hiding your drug money, that's a money laundering charge. Okay. I'm getting that. I know I'm pleading out to that for sure. Yeah. You know what also helped me in my favor was the fact that weed was almost legal.
She did plead out to that. Yeah. So you pled out to that and gave them the money.
Exactly.
And that was the plea agreement.
Exactly.
Okay. Fair enough.
Exactly. So
and how much time did you end up getting for that?
36 months.
Not bad.
Yeah, and I got I had it plus time served.
State
so
time,
I
right?
got it was still 85%.
You still had to do 85.
Yeah, but I got But here's the thing. I somehow avoided getting, I had like 4 strikes for fighting and hole shots in the county. So I had to go do time at a maximum, but I stayed out of trouble for the most part there. So I got classed down to minimum security, and they had this new drug program. There's so many drug felonies. People are going in for weed charges and drug charges, like too many for them to handle. So I went to this like boot camp program when I got to the minimum, and it got me like almost a year cut off my sentence.
Shit.
Yeah. Okay. So I ended up doing like 18 months.
Nice. Year and a half.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I mean, shit.
Not bad.
For a year, for decades of fucking trafficking and living on the razor's edge. I mean, it worked out. It was the white boy special, you know?
Yeah, I guess so.
It was the white privilege. That is a thing. And I'm not like some PC fucking dork, but like white privilege is still if you want to look at like the last bastions of like real institutionalized racism, because most racism doesn't exist in the U.S.
I agree.
It's not on the books. There's
Contrary
nothing
to what these crybabies say.
There's nothing holding people back
Not at all.
in the laws.
Nothing.
But the real discrimination I did see was in the justice system.
Okay.
But that has a lot to do with education too.
Yeah.
And class actually.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Of course.
Like a guy like you, well-spoken, educated, if you got caught with a bunch of work, you would probably get a much sweeter deal even though you're dark-skinned than your producers. I'm kidding. You guys are great. This guy's got the sweetest face though. You know what I mean?
No, that is a crazy story, man.
Yeah.
Wow. So you had, so how long did you, so from 16 and then you got arrested?
24 and a half.
Okay.
Yeah.
So damn near a decade of
which is a long time to be on the streets.
Dude, that's crazy long.
Yeah.
Most guys don't even do it they're not even able to do it for a couple years.
Yeah.
And then for you to able to do it for as long as you did, making the kind of money that you did, in the area that you did it in, right? Guaranteed there weren't that many guys out there in Portland moving that much drugs.
No, not that way. No, there weren't.
So they caught you with the money, man. Fuck. Well, you know what? I'll tell you this, dude. It could have been worse.
I know.
Like, holy fuck.
I know.
There were so many federal violations, like, that. Thank God, like, like DEA didn't get on your radar or U.S. Well, they did, but like they were doing some lazy shit, trying to follow up and flip you, whatever.
Right.
Lazy shit.
They
didn't have a real investigation.
No, they had one. It was a state case with a federal liaison who got a hard on when he saw all this money. So he was like, let's try to break him and we can open this up. But they just weren't able to.
They weren't able to, so they said, fuck it.
You know what I mean? $1 million for like a weed guy back then.
Huge.
It was middle class money though.
Oh,
bro.
that was middle class.
It's middle class money, bro.
Really?
So it's like, but thank God. It's like I kind of got lost in the sauce. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about for big time weed trafficking. Like being a millionaire was like, that meant you were doing well.
Okay.
You know what I mean? If you're making $5 million a year, okay, now you're doing very well.
Yeah. I guarantee, though, that you were probably the biggest guy in your area, though.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you're, don't downplay yourself, man. Definitely, bro, at this point, my friend, you're a regional supplier.
Yeah.
But by far, like.
I was a middleman.
Yeah, like you're over here moving stuff to the other side of the country. Yeah, man.
I made more money than most people I knew, moving keys of coke.
Yeah. So you never dabbled back into cocaine or any of these other drugs? You said what kept you away from? Was it the danger? Was it just that you didn't like the people that you dealt with?
I mean, there's all that, but also I just didn't have buyers for weight. So I probably could have gone to my Dominicans, right? Because obviously,
I was gonna say
Dominicans uptown are connected. But how much? Like if I'm getting a brick for 20. How much are they going to buy it for? They got shit coming off the boats.
New York, I know 50, but they got to connect that they're able to get it cheaper.
That's what I mean. So it's like I can maybe make 2 points off a kilo. It's like, 2 points off 1 kilo. That's 2 pounds of weed.
Yeah.
So I'm only making $1,000 more off of 1 kilo than I'm making off 1 pound of weed. It just didn't make sense.
And you're dealing with, once you get into the cocaine and the meth and the heroin, bro, you're dealing with way more dangerous people. Now you're dealing with black people. Let's keep it 1,000.
I would never deal with them.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like it just gets worse. Like
and also if I had known how to mix, like the real profit in
the black gangs, and you're dealing with gangs now too more. Like when you once you get into like cocaine and heroin and meth, now you're dealing with street gangs. As well.
Yeah. And it was just sloppy. I didn't like dealing with anybody that was on drugs. I mean, the guys that I was fucking, selling, shipping packs to ended up being on drugs. And they were the ones that ended up leading to my fucking arrest.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like,
and it could be any race of gang. You could be dealing with Bloods and Crips. You could be dealing with motorcycle gangs. You could be dealing with Latin gangs. Like, once you get into the more hard drugs, like,
yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
Damn. No, man, that was a great story, man. I think people are really going to enjoy that, especially just the differences, like the world that I came from.
Yeah.
To get the full story, you guys got to watch my interview on his pod, and then you got to watch obviously this one.
Yeah.
And you guys will be able to see the craziness, man. But
but I always liked most cops. I didn't like beat cops. Nobody likes fucking state troopers to pull you over.
Yeah,
but
because they're not fun.
But every guy, like most of the guys that like arrested me that I saw, they were like cool dudes for the most part. You know what I mean? It was like they never took it personally.
Yeah, you can never take it personally.
Which I took it so fucking personally at first. But like the OGs were like, what's the matter with you? Like, this is just a game. This is all part. Everybody's making money. These DEA agents, they're all making money because you're in the game. Like, they didn't take it personal. Don't be mad at them. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, it was self-pity at first, but I'm like, okay, no. Like, this is just all one pot. And, like, they need me trafficking drugs as much as, like, you know, I need my buyers buying drugs.
Damn, man.
You know?
Well, bro, that was a great interview.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm really glad to be able to get the background. That was an awesome story. Your rise up into the game, and there you go, guys. You got like a little 101 on marijuana trafficking. I've never heard a story that detailed when it comes to weed, man.
And if you go to the Connect, we interview a lot of people with different stories, but from the same backgrounds. You know what I mean? We've had
really interesting stuff, guys.
We have Freeway Rick Ross on there.
Yeah.
Right? We have, you know, celebrity kingpins, but we also have, you know, dudes from Connecticut that used to like be truck drivers that would traffic crazy shit, right? Bring shit, tons and tons of dope. And, you know, we have had cops on there, and you're our first Fed. So you killed it.
I'm honored.
Yeah, man. We're
2.5 hours, guys. Go check that interview out.
Yeah, light work.
Yeah, go check it out, man. It was a great interview. I really enjoyed it. Johnny, thank you so much for coming on, man.
My pleasure.
I know you guys got some stuff to do, so we're going to go ahead and where can people find you?
The Connect with Johnny Mitchell is the name of the podcast.
1 million subscribers on YouTube.
Yes, sir. As of today, at Mr. Johnny Mitchell, Instagram, TikTok. I'm a stand-up comedian. I'm on the road all the time, so we're ramping up that schedule. So yeah, just follow me on socials and go check the podcast out. And that's about it, man.
Damn, man. Guys, go check them out, man. And make sure to go check out the interview I did with them. It was fucking awesome.
Yes.
We'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.
Peace out.